It was exciting to kind of be in this unknown. When he was filming it, I had no idea what the outcome was going to be. I trusted him, and it was kind of exhilarating to be in this, like, I don't know what's going to happen next stage of the work. I am not super versed in film or dance film. It's not necessarily how I create through. It's not the medium that I'm so invested in the live and the physical that it's just not something that had been on my radar. But coming out of COVID, there were a lot of opportunities to engage with audiences that they couldn't be live yet. And it just so happened at this time, Jeremy Jacob, who directed the piece, he's a filmmaker based up in Hudson, New York. He reached out to me because he was in this like current wave of interest of wanting to work with choreographers that he was interested in. So he had seen my work previously, and he reached out to me for the potential of making something. And I was like, well, guess what? There's opportunities. So let's do it. So it was kind of born out of this like coincidence or like kismet, like everything kind of just aligned. And I really trusted Jeremy with the work because Jeremy didn't want to make like he didn't want to wrap the piece up in a tidy bow. He's seen my stage work before, and he's really interested in kind of the mystery of it, or in the way that it's like not just outwardly performed for the audience, but there is like this really rich and deep interior dialogue happening with each performer. So there's a bit of a mystery that surrounds the work that he was interested in holding on to when making the piece, when making the film. So I was really interested in letting him go full into that interpretation of it and not trying to highlight the dance being filmed in different locations. Like there's something about his eye and the way he was putting things together that I was really interested in exploring and working with him on. We filmed that after a run at the American Dance Festival in the summer of 2022. So we were down in Durham, North Carolina. It was very hot. And I think it was like on the 4th of July. The locations, there's not like a ton of meaning associated. There was this sense of just like slices of Americana, like random places that are familiar, but also kind of like the way that they're being contextualized makes them unfamiliar or seen in a new way, with dancers being inside and the camera work and all of that. So there's not a ton of meaning making derived from the exact locations inside, but it was to kind of find these like disparate landscapes where people are having these experiences inside of, and kind of see what tension resides in that. I think after watching the film and working on editing it with him, there was this sense of, I think it was just reinforcing kind of what I do with the work, which is like being open and allowing all these different ways in for people to experience what's in front of them is like a completely valid and needed way of approaching art making, because I'm not interested in implanting like a value system that audiences need to buy into. So it was kind of this openness, sitting inside of that and being okay with it, and not, again, not feeling like I have to wrap it up in a tidy bow, because it's a form that I'm not as comfortable in. Like in live performance, I'm much more open with like kind of building that tension, and I knew how to control the arc of what was happening and what an outcome might, manifest in. But I was out of my comfort zone with the film. So it was just really, it was great working with somebody and seeing how they approached it in a similar manner to how I feel about live work. I mean, they're not glamorous challenges. I mean, the challenges are like really functional. Like it was like 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and we were shooting outside on all kinds of crazy surfaces on a slanted parking deck out in like a hot field on a tennis court. So the conditions were pretty hard, but we had to shoot in a certain time. So that was the thing. When shooting outside kind of brought forth a lot of challenges, but it was necessary to getting that kind of whole, the variety of locations that Jeremy was weaving together. So there was logistical challenges that came forward. Other than that, it was exciting to kind of be in this unknown and unexpected. Like I had no, when he was filming it, I had no idea what the outcome was going to be, and I was like, all right, cool, because I trusted him, and it was kind of exhilarating to be in this like, I don't know what's going to happen next stage of the work. I think the visual is much more curated in the film because there's a lot of different visual stimuli and different camera angles that shape a perspective. But in the live performance, it's sat on four sides. All the audience members are going to have a slightly different angle and viewpoint into the work beyond kind of having a different expectation for work that happens on the stage. Similarities are in the people, like the individual comes forward in both mediums. It's experienced, in a more palpable way live, and again kind of in a more curated, metered kind of composition in the film, but they both speak to the essence of the work that I was interested in, which I said was the individual and how we're working through these systems and kind of working through these, not just the physical systems, but sort of the ways that we've been conditioned mentally to operate and succeed or try different things or experiment in different ways, and what the driving forces to do that are, or what some of the forces that stop us from asking questions and pushing into new areas are.